You've heard Suge Knight's jaw-dropping claims about Sean Combs now. Usher and Justin Bieber are teaming up to pull back the curtain on what happened when they were just kids in his world. Knight told Michael Frenzy in prison that Diddy sent a young Justin on romantic vacations with grown men and showed Instagram photos with no one else around. He called it the saddest thing he'd ever seen, words that cut deep, because they came from someone who knew Diddy's world inside out. And because they involved two of the biggest names in music, finally speaking out together. We'll walk you through key evidence, play the raw clips that never made headlines, and piece together the timeline from those brief early days. We'll let their own words lead the way and show how two bright young talents got caught up in something far darker than fame.
Usher, Justin Bieber, Diddy, this is how they all connect. When Usher was super young, he got signed to a guy named L.A. Reid, this famous music executive. Usher then loses his voice. L.A. Reid wants to help him, get back on track, so he sends him over to this guy named Puff Daddy. And as you can imagine, Usher had a problem, he just didn't know it yet. See, Puff Daddy was this up-and-coming music executive who could really turn someone into a star. He put them through this thing called Flavor Camp, and during Usher's term in this Flavor Camp, he lived with Puff. And in Usher's words, he would see questionable things. He said at any given time, you can open the door and see a bunch of random people playing Netflix. He said he would be up all night partying when all he really wanted to do was go to the studio. And this is when people speculate that Diddy did something to Usher. Now, I need you to listen to me. I'm gonna give you the evidence as to why people believe this, but until you hear words from Usher, Diddy, Justin Bieber, nobody knows anything. All right, so Diddy and Usher are in an interview with Kevin Hart. Diddy said, "Hey yo, pause, when Usher used to live with me, we used to wrestle for Frosted Flakes." Kevin Hart said, "What?" Diddy said, and he grabs Kevin Hart and pulls him off camera because Kevin Hart doesn't have a filter. After Diddy's Flavor Camp, Usher comes out with an album called Usher. It has really explicit details about watching Netflix. And of course, the album was executively produced by Puff Daddy. His mom was like, "Yo, what the?" So she grabs Usher. You got former bodyguards coming out saying, yeah, Diddy was very inappropriate with Usher. There's a rumor that Usher got sent to the hospital because of an encounter with Diddy. In fact, rumors have been circulating for like 20 years about this situation. Which brings us to Usher and Justin Bieber. See, Justin Bieber was coming up in the same way Usher was, like when he was super young. L.A. Reid again found Justin Bieber. Usher and Justin Timberlake both wanted to sign Bieber, but Bieber chooses Usher and Usher basically becomes a mentor. Now Usher then sends a young Bieber to Diddy for 48 hours. And in this interview, Diddy's saying stuff like, "Man, Justin is doing things that any 15-year-old would dream of doing." And the thing that's always kind of annoyed me about Diddy personally is he's always towing this imaginary line in interviews. Because of his ego, he has been snitching on himself in interviews. If you listen, he'll say something like, "Justin be having a really good time with me." If no one acknowledges it, he'll be like,
And know what the saddest thing in the world is what they did to Justin Bieber.
What was that?
That's sad.
What'd they do to him? Because there's a lot of speculation out there, but nobody. I mean, I've heard things, but what did they really do to him
They had sex with him.
when he was a
And
kid?
this is not, I hate to say that. I hate to say that because I really like Justin Bieber. I feel bad for Justin Bieber. And this wouldn't have happened if Justin Bieber came from a wealthy family. Justin Bieber pretty much came from a poor family, but the young man was so talented, and he could have been bigger than Michael Jackson. But the question of the drugs and the stuff he allowed these grown men to do to this little boy is unhealthy and it's fucked up. No grown men supposed to be getting high and doing drugs and drinking with a kid. I mean, you had grown men would take Justin Bieber. A grown man take Justin Bieber when he was young to a vacation, a romantic vacation, showing pictures on the Instagram with no women, nobody else but a grown, successful man and this little kid. And even if you and I was going on vacation together, and because it's definitely not going to be in me and you, it's going to be mad because we're going to have some. Oh, I'm not going to be sitting on no romantic island, just you and me.
Hell
You
no.
know what I mean?
Hell no.
I'd rather take the chance of my girl saying, "Hey, you out there having parties and all, you right." She damn sure ain't going to say this, you and I on a romantic island, that's us. First part about it is, everybody said what was done to Usher, and they done to Justin Bieber. And the thing with Usher spent the night in him and Puffy be in the same bed to do an album. They never did one song they put out at that time. On top of that, when I met Usher, I came on one time. I'm speaking to the guy because he got good songs. That's out of respect. Like, young black man. This dude rolled his eyes at me. And so there was somebody came over and kind of said, Suge, you know, don't have one of your guys do nothing to him. He a good young man, but him and Puffy got a thing. He a thing. He gave me a look like, you know. And I thought about it. The way he rolled his eyes at me, it wasn't like somebody homie rolled it. It was like I beat up somebody, man. Like I beat his, you know, he the bitch. Like somebody to roll their eyes, like you beat my boyfriend up. I ain't speaking to you.
Really?
One of those.
Long before the chart-topping hits. Usher was a 13-year-old living with Sean Combs as his legal guardian. Diddy produced Usher's self-titled debut in 1994 and guided him into the music business. Usher has said he felt special, but he also admits he was too young to see the dark side of that mentorship now. After decades of success, he's joining Justin to expose the full truth of those early years, proof that even the brightest stars can be just kids lost in someone else's spotlight.
He appeared on the televised talent show Star Search when he was 13 years old. Fun fact about that, he actually set the record for the longest note ever held by a child on Star Search, 12 seconds. So what happened? That got the attention of famed producer L.A. Reid. But according to his coaches, reportedly during puberty, when Usher's voice started to change, he kind of had trouble controlling his vocals. Now, L.A. Reid reportedly considered dropping Usher from his label, but when Usher begged him to stay on, Reid sent him to live with Sean Combs in New York for a year to train. And at the time, Combs, who was then known as Puff Daddy, we believe there were these apparent training sessions, and these training sessions were known as Puffy.
So the ticket was my voice, and I lost it.
This girl is changing my mind, so what? I really don't care. I got a headache, you know, from doing all them high notes.
Hey man, it's just puberty, you're gonna go through it. But when you raise your voice to sing, and you could do it so easily, now it's not there, it's gone. And you don't know if it's gonna come back either. I waited all my life for this opportunity, so I performed before this audience. I think I may have ran about 10 miles. When I got back, my mother, she told me, I know this is hard, but we're gonna fight for it. We're gonna fight through it, and I'm gonna make sure that they don't drop you.
He was 13 to 14 years old at the time. Combs reportedly had legal guardianship over Usher during that period. Can't confirm that for sure. And since his time with Combs, Usher has worked with several other producers and record labels, and he's become one of the top-selling R&B artists of all time. His awards and nominations are almost too many to count. He's won 8 Grammy Awards, 18 Billboard Music Awards. He's been inducted into the Georgia Music Hall of Fame, star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Rolling Stone magazine recently named the album Confessions Part 2 as the #1 greatest R&B song of the 21st century. The magazine also ranked the song's music video among its 30 sexiest music videos of all time, and VH1 wrote that he was the best dancer in pop since Michael Jackson. And of course, Usher recently performed last year at the Super Bowl halftime show, so he's not just any musical artist, he is a superstar who, you gotta say, his success has been at least partially attributed to his time spent with Sean Combs. The two have been photographed together at different events throughout the years. You can see that connection.
In 2004, when Confessions was everywhere, Usher spoke to Rolling Stone and confessed that Diddy opened his eyes to specifically, he said, doors would open to scenes he didn't understand, orgies, couples in private rooms, things he didn't know how to process at age 16 at the time. It sounded like bravado today. Those memories are ammunition in a joint effort to show that what looked like fast lane fun for two teens was something darker. Usher's words, once shrugged off, now form a key piece of their shared testimony.
Usher has spoken about this time in his life with Combs. For example, in 2004, Usher told Rolling Stone that Combs introduced him to essentially sex. He said, quote, "Sex is so hot in the industry, man. There was always girls around. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it or several people in a room having an orgy. You never knew what was going to happen." On the Howard Stern Show in 2016, Usher talked about his time with Combs too, saying there was definitely a lot of wild partying, but he doesn't think he was really able to understand what all was going on. And when Howard Stern asked him, would you send your own kids to something like Puffy Flavor Camp, this is what he had to say.
What a life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
See?
Usher also spoke with People magazine back in February, saying some of the most valuable lessons I could ever learn as an entrepreneur were picked up when I spent that time in New York with him. This unwavering desire to create and make certain that your creative ideas are executed. I saw him in real time working it out, him building something from nothing, him understanding how culture and collaboration can build careers, being able to see that. That's what I got.
We want to thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No. I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even, I don't want it to come close to the bed at all. Usher look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. Usher.
Fresh off the garden stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like, check this out. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
what the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes. And we're streaming live. That was stupid. Listen, that was fucking stupid.
Listen. We having a good time, yo. Usher made it in the... Hey, yo.
Usher revisited those memories at his 35th birthday party, thanking Diddy for everything from parties to women, sex, and drugs. He said he enjoyed the ride, but never let it take over. That speech seemed like a loyal shout-out to a mentor. In hindsight, it's a glimpse of a teenager caught between admiration and confusion. Now, Usher wants the world to know he was just a kid, too young to choose those experiences, and he's ready to stand with Justin in shining a light on what really happened.
One of the allegations is that he forced individuals to take drugs and participate in sexual performances known as freak-offs and to keep quiet about all of this. Now, Combs and his attorneys have denied that he did anything wrong, but thanks to allegations of witness tampering and fear he might flee, 2 different judges denied him bail. He's being locked up right now in the Metropolitan Detention Center out in Brooklyn. Many people are wondering what he might have seen at a young age when he lived with Combs in the 90s. This is a very common topic of conversation right now. Deep dives into the people surrounding Combs. Justin Bieber, Jennifer Lopez, Usher, so forth. What do they know? Will they be a part of any kind of case? Now, days before Combs was arrested, another of his apparent mentees filed a civil action against him, Dawn Richard. Dawn Richard is a former member of the girl group Danity Kane, and then she joined a trio group with Combs and another singer, Kalina Harper. It was called Diddy Dirty Money. She filed a lawsuit claiming that Combs sexually and verbally abused her for a decade. She also claimed that Combs owes her more than $3 million in unpaid salary and royalties, as well as unpaid wages for touring. And going back to Usher, Richard claims that Usher witnessed Combs' alleged abuse of his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Ventura had filed her own bombshell lawsuit last fall, seemingly kickstarting Combs' significant legal.
Usher revisited those memories at his 35th birthday party, thanking Diddy for everything from parties to women's sex and drugs. He said he enjoyed the ride but never let it take over. That speech seemed like a loyal shout-out to a mentor. In hindsight, it's a glimpse of a teenager caught between admiration and confusion. Now Usher wants the world to know he was just a kid too young to choose those experiences, and he's ready to stand with Justin in shining a light on what really happened.
The allegations is that he forced individuals to take drugs and participate in sexual performances known as freak-offs and to keep quiet about all of this. Now, Combs and his attorneys have denied that he did anything wrong, but thanks to allegations of witness tampering and fear he might flee, 2 different judges denied him bail. He's being locked up right now in the Metropolitan Detention Center out in Brooklyn. Many people are wondering what he might have seen at a young age when he lived with Combs in the 90s. This is a very common topic of conversation right now. Deep dives into the people surrounding Combs. Justin Bieber, Jennifer Lopez, Usher, so forth. What do they know? Will they be a part of any kind of case? Now, days before Combs was arrested, another of his apparent mentees filed a civil action against him, Dawn Richard. Dawn Richard is a former member of the girl group Danity Kane, and then she joined a trio group with Combs and another singer, Kalina Harper. It was called Diddy Dirty Money. She filed a lawsuit claiming that Combs sexually and verbally abused her for a decade. She also claimed that Combs owes her more than $3 million in unpaid salary and royalties, as well as unpaid wages for touring. And going back to Usher, Richard claims that Usher witnessed Combs' alleged abuse of his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Ventura had filed her own bombshell lawsuit last fall, seemingly kickstarting Combs' significantly.
Howard Stern in 2016. Usher called Diddy's gatherings Puffy Flavor Camp and admitted very curious things went on behind closed doors. He laughed them off. But today those curious things read like warning signs. Usher and Justin are treating every path
to New York City. And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year. It was curious. I got a chance to see some things. It was pretty wild.
Usher's past comments on Diddy now going viral.
These are places that a 13-year-old probably should not be.
In the wake of his former mentor's federal house raids.
I met Puffy a long time ago, around, 92.
Flash forward to 2016 on the Howard Stern show, the singer recalling his wild memories of living with Diddy, who now faces serious legal trouble, including sex trafficking allegations.
We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like? I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. It was pretty wild. There were very curious things taking place.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't necessarily understand.
Yeah, but it had all of the freak-off victims on it. You know, Usher was like, we were just sitting up there. Who's the next victim on the playlist? And he, you won't break my soul. You won't break my soul.
Damn. Can we talk? No, let me stop.
Let me
stop.
No, it was Confessions. They played Usher Confessions. Confessed that Lifetime Achievement Award was a fucking hush payment for your fucking asshole and all of the many years of abuse. That wasn't no Lifetime. I'm still mad. People say, why you say that about Usher?
Oh. So,
I'm mad that people aren't more mad at Usher.
For?
Because somewhere along the way he went from a victim.
Justin was signed when he was just 13 years old, and I should mention he was signed by Usher to a label that was owned jointly by both Scooter Braun and Usher, and he was considered Usher's protege. He has been described Usher as his mentor, which is why his adorable premiere music video that I showed you guys last week, entitled One Time, they had created this storyline in which a young Justin Bieber is playing video games with his friends, and Usher calls him and says that he's running late. You know, his big bro Usher calls him, and then Justin Bieber does the teenager thing and throws a party while Usher is out. So take a look at the beginning of that music video now.
Oh, 3! That was not luck, that was skill. Yo, I'm killing him. Yo, Usher.
JB, what's up, man?
I'm just playing video games with Ryan.
You think you can hold the house down till I get back?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, my man.
Yo.
And that's how it starts, and then all of a sudden he has a party, and like I said, you can imagine for a 13-year-old kid, I think he's 14 in the video, what a big deal. You're with Usher, one of the princes of R&B, and now he's your mentor, and you're doing what you love, you're singing songs, and their long relationship has been well documented throughout the media.
Every casual quote like evidence. They're re-examining the moments we all glossed over as industry stuff, showing that two teenagers were funneled into a world they shouldn't have been in. And now they're holding the man who pushed them. Even Diddy's own ex-bodyguard added to the alarm. Gene Deal said he heard executives whisper about Usher being sent to the hospital after abuse. So severe he bled from the butt deal. Didn't know Usher's name at the time. He just knew someone had been hurt. That story stayed hidden until now. Usher and Justin are piecing together these fragments. Suggage Knight's prison rumor mill Usher's flashes of memory. All to prove they were just kids, vulnerable to a predator's power. Justin Bieber was barely 15 when he spent 48 hours under Diddy's complete control. A long-buried video on Justin's own YouTube channel shows Diddy announcing, "He's with me for the next 2 days, doing whatever we want," a proclaimed 15-year-old's dream that in hindsight looks more like grooming. They laughed as the camera rolled, but today Justin sees those clips differently. He's reaching out to Usher saying, We both lived it. We both knew it wasn't right. Together, they want to give context to that video so the world knows exactly what 15-year-old's dream really meant. Khloe Kardashian once mentioned on Keeping Up with the Kardashians that Diddy's naked parties included Quincy Justin Bieber. Half the people there were butt naked. It was tossed off as celebrity gossip. Now Usher and Justin are turning gossip into testimony. They're calling on anyone who was at those parties to come forward. They want every detail laid bare, so nobody can dismiss the stories as rumors. After all, they were just kids too young to consent to those adult spectacles. In 2020, Justin released Lonely, a song in which he opens up about his true emotions, feeling invisible even at his peak. Some of the lyrics read, "Everybody saw me sick, and it felt like no one gave us a T." All of this isn't just about Justin's mental health, it's about being a child thrust into demands he couldn't handle. He told Apple Music's Zane Lowe about the importance of protecting the up-and-coming artists from being treated the way he was when he was that age in this dark, unforgiving industry. All of this comes as Sean Diddy Combs sits in a Brooklyn lockup facing trial for trafficking, and abuse lawyers are digging through his past, and Usher and Justin might have to testify if called. Their testimonies will show that these allegations aren't new. They've been building for decades with clues scattered through interviews, videos, and whispers in hallways. Now two former protégés are uniting to connect every dot, proving they were just kids, left unprotected. Their goal is to present a full picture of how a teenager's trust was twisted into something abusive. By doing this together, they hope to inspire other survivors to break their silence, because when two of the biggest names in music say, "Enough is enough," it can change the conversation forever. What happens next could reshape the way the industry handles young talent. All of this forces us to ask hard questions. How did Diddy evade scrutiny? For so long, what doors were open to two teenagers that should have been locked? These questions matter because they show how easily fame can become a trap for the unaware. Rather, strength in numbers. Usher and Justin are sending a clear message: they were just kids, and they won't let that fact be forgotten. If they do step into that courtroom, they'll carry every memory of fear, every lost moment of innocence into the open, and they'll stand together so no one else has to face what they did alone. Thank you for sticking with us through this deep dive. If you want every update on this story, every leaked clip, every court filing, every new testimony, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What questions do you want Usher and Justin to ask Diddy under oath? We're here to keep digging until the full truth comes out.